Now what we're going to do is I just wanted to show you how we could combine some of the techniques that we've been using in the previous exercises. Here I have my flamingo and it walks onto the screen. Then it's just going to pause in the middle of the screen and then it's going to exit and walk off of the screen. What we're going to do is we're going to animate the flamingo once it reaches the middle of the screen, and we are going to have the flamingo's head bend over so that it can dip its head into the water. You may have recalled that our flamingo character is a pre-comp. If I double click on this, here is the flamingo comp, and we just have the flamingo and we've created the walk cycle within this particular composition. I've placed this composition on my main composition and I'm using time remapping so that I can control what parts of the animation are going to show. As I mentioned, once the flamingo gets to its resting spot, we're going to want it to dip its head down and look for food. In order to animate the head and the neck, we're going to use our puppet tool. I'll go ahead and grab my puppet tool. I'm going to activate the pins, so I'll go ahead and add a few pins here, and that should do the trick. I will lower down my expansion slightly. I'll make that 8. And for the density, I'm going to reduce this down to about 6. Now that I have those in place, I will be able to grab the various puppet pins and I can animate my particular character. That is what we are going to do. I'm just going to undo to get back. And because we created our mesh, here's our mesh right here, I'll go ahead and go into the deform and I'm just going to name my pins. Now, as you can see, if I select these pins and I grab them, we're going to get some tilting motion, and that's because I did not add pins to the lower part of the flamingo's body. So let's prevent that from happening by adding some pins down here to the leg structure as well. And I'll just go ahead and name these pins. Now, if I select these 3 upper pins right here, and we grab this, you're going to see how the feet are going to stay stationary. I'll undo one more time, and what I'll do here is I'll move my playback head out. We'll just move it out about half a second, so I'm just going to write +15, and then we'll start to create animation. And it looks like this pin did not retain its name, so let me just put that on there. I'm going to start off by grabbing the pins that I want to modify. I'm going to stretch the head out a little bit, and then this neck is going to come out as well. And we'll grab this lower neck and start to tip it down. Then I'm going to move my playback head out again, and let's just go ahead and have this happen in another half a second. Now that my playback head is at the appropriate location, I'm going to continue to modify my flamingo. So now we'll just start to stretch the flamingo's neck down a little bit, and we want the flamingo to begin to bend its head down. Once again, I'm just going to move out 15 frames. I'll continue to work in this way. I'll do that one more time. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to animate the beak going back and forth like so. And I think because this is going to be a more repetitive type of motion, I will just record this motion. I'm going to select the pin using my puppet pin tool. I'll go to record options. And for this particular example, I'm going to up the smoothing quite a bit. We'll type in 15. We'll click OK. And then I'm going to hold down my Command or Control key, and I'm just going to move the flamingo's beak back and forth a little bit. If we play our animation now, you can see that the flamingo walks onto the stage. It's going to bend down, and then it's going to look around for some food. Now, I want the flamingo to not walk away with its beak down, which you can see is what's happening now. So we're going to have to do a little bit of a reverse engineer on the animation. And in order to do that, I will come into these deform properties. I'm going to click U to open up my keyframes so that we can take a look. And I'll just give the timeline a little bit more real estate by click, hold, and dragging up. And then I'm just going to move back And you can see this is when the flamingo starts to move. These are the keyframes for the flamingo's walk cycle. I don't want the flamingo to move quite so soon, so I'll select these keyframes and we'll just move these out a few seconds. We have plenty of room in our timeline to be able to make these adjustments. And then I'm just going to kind of go back and reverse engineer these keyframes. We'll select these keyframes. These are the keyframes that we're using to bend the flamingo's neck. I'm going to move out in time after the flamingo starts to root around a little bit. It looks like our animation is still occurring. It's these two position keyframes. Let me move those out. They need to match up with our time remapping. So now our flamingo is going to stay stationary. I'm going to come to the last keyframe of the flamingo rooting around. We'll click +15. Once the playback head is in this location, we're going to go ahead and hit paste. This is going to copy these in. And then we are actually recreating the original animation. So you can see how things get wonky because the flamingo is already bent over. What I ultimately want to do is I want to reverse these keyframes. I will right click on the selected keyframes. I'm going to go to Keyframe Assistant and we're going to use Time Reverse Keyframes. And when we do that, the keyframes have been reversed and you can see how the body is going to get back to its original position. I don't think that all of our beak and neck keyframes were completely reversed, so let's just see what's going on. Here's the head down. It looks like all of the keyframes except for the beak were reversed. I'm going to come down here. Oh, I see what happened. I did not copy these. So let me just copy those keyframes and we'll put our playback head so that it aligns up here and we'll hit paste to paste those in, and then I'm going to right click Keyframe Assistant and we'll do Time Reverse Keyframes. And now we should see that the flamingo is going to pick its head up and then it's going to walk off. So if we play our animation, you can see that the flamingo comes on, it's going to bend down, and thanks to the puppet tool I was able to accomplish this animation in a much easier way. It picks up its head and then it's going to walk off of the screen. Being able to combine the techniques so that you can build sophisticated animation will open up a wide variety of methods in which you can create just the right animation for your project.